5 at 5, new drama tonight for Donald Trump. Newly leaked videos show two of his former attorneys, pictured right here, Sidney Powell and Jenna Ellis, directly contradicting his claims about the 2020 election. Atlanta News First political reporter Doug Reardon is live outside the Fulton County Courthouse for us this evening. So, Doug, these videos are materials for the Georgia case against Trump and his co-defendants.
Yeah, they are, Alan, and we're working to independently obtain those video testimonies ourselves, but we have seen them, and in them, Jenna Ellis, a former attorney for Donald Trump, testifies that she was told by top Trump aides that under, quote, no circumstances, unquote, would the former president be leaving the White House after his election defeat in 2020. Then, in her testimony, Sidney Powell, another former Trump attorney, tells prosecutors that she planned to lead some sort of plan to confiscate voting machines in Coffee County and then hack them for data. It's very damning testimony for some defendants, especially for Trump himself. The only people, though, to receive copies of those testimonies were attorneys for the remaining defendants. Today, District Attorney Fani Willis filed an emergency motion that would hold defendants in contempt of court in the future for sharing any more evidence. Attorney J. Edward Shipp explains why information leaks could be bad news for prosecutors and for Willis.
She is afraid that by this reaching the public, it will intimidate other witnesses. Intimidating these witnesses into a point where they just say, we're not going to testify, you can't protect us, we're not interested in trying to make a deal with you.
Yeah, and in her filing, Willis pretty much directly accuses defendant Harrison Floyd of being the source of this leak alongside his attorneys. I talked to Floyd on the phone today. He denies those accusations. We'll have more for you at 7, but for now, we're outside the Fulton County Courthouse. Doug Reardon, Atlanta News First.